You want to kick this thing off?
Sure,
Let's
sure.
do it. People will keep trickling in as we go, but we'll go and get started since we're a few minutes after here. So, welcome
Perfect.
to your next STR, the 2026 playbook for finding and designing high cash flowing properties. I'm Matt Sanderson. I'm the founder and CEO of strIQ. I'm with Lauren Sedlar with
Good
ALNU
morning.
Designs. And thank you for joining us today. Do you want to give us a little quick intro of you?
Sure. Yeah. Good morning, everyone. My name is Lauren. Matt and I have first and foremost been friends for the last couple years. We did connect in the STR space at a big convention out in Houston and just really connected as people, believers, business people in the real estate space. And so we've known each other outside of the real estate space for quite some time. As a trusted person I go to, as you guys probably all feel the same. But I've done quite a few things in this space, from marketing to property management, and now into more of the design side of the short-term rental space. Me and two other women are co-managing partners of ALNU Design Co., which is a STR focused design firm. I haven't always been in the real estate space. I was just telling them I was a Cheetos sales girl for 5 years. I worked for Frito-Lay growing their large brands that we all commonly know today and figuring out how to position them and scale them in the market, and ate way too many chips over the course of 5 years. But I
That's awesome.
come from a corporate background, and then transitioned into the real estate space back in 2020. And over the last 5 years, like I mentioned, have done everything from arbitrage to property management to helping find properties before we had the strike app. Um,
Hmm.
to now, I kind of have two little segments. I manage properties with a partner. He does most of the heavy lifting. I do more of like just like funneling them in, high level management. My main focus is building and growing all new. So we're super excited to share some of the new strike features and what all new has to offer as well with you guys today. Thank y'all for taking
Yeah,
the time to join us.
and I will say I've been blown away by all new designs. I personally hired them on one of my properties in Fredericksburg, which we'll show you all a little bit later as a case study. But they just have such an interesting design that's so unique that I think will just blow y'all's minds. A little bit later, you're going to see some unique design boards, but like there's just something really unique about it. And I've seen them implement this in about 3 to 4 properties already, 2 to 3 here in Houston, and then again, mine in Fredericksburg. And so that's why I really wanted to have this webinar with you guys because I think the intersection of data and design together is like the perfect synergy for success for you guys. So if you're thinking about your next STR in 2026 and how to be successful, really what it comes down to is every single property that you look at doesn't have a fixed revenue number. Every single property has a range of revenue potential, and it's how can I unlock that range of potential for that property? And so you got to think about it. If you go in, you buy a property, and if you don't do anything to it, it will probably be average. And so you've got to know, hey, what does the data say to help me get above average? And who are the right partners and strategic partners that I can bring in to help me unlock that upper level? And what does that ROI look like? So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Again, I'm Matt Sanderson, the founder of strIQ. I've had a lot of experience in real estate. I was doing commercial real estate a long time before doing this. About 12 years experience doing brokerage transactions with a large commercial real estate company. Um, and then just some other fun stuff. I own 6 properties. And I'm a dad of 2 girls and a boy. I just had another little girl about a month ago. So my life has been a little chaotic the last 30 days, but glad to be with y'all.
Our focus for today was wanting to help you identify some of the markets that we have seen work. Matt and I both believe that we have a common, shared understanding that finding a market is one of the most robust, could be like stressful, just barrier stopping things to understand, hey, where do I actually put my money? I have it, I want to invest, but where, right? And so we're hoping today that we can kind of help you narrow that focus down into a few markets that we've personally had success in and or have worked with clients who have found success in and have a lower barrier to enter. And those are what we call off the beaten path markets. Now, an off the beaten path market is just a market that, hey, if we live in Texas, there may be a market in Michigan that we would have never heard of, but the locals of Michigan know of that market. There's a certain feature there. Maybe it's a body of water or a college or a school, something that just draws people there around year that draws people, but it's not a main market that like everyone across the US knows. Everyone knows about, Panama City, Florida, or New York City. Like those are big cities that are commonly known to most people.
Asheville.
Asheville, right?
Yeah.
Asheville. But we like to focus on markets that are not as commonly known. There's a few reasons why we focus on these markets, or we suggest them to people who are looking to get into the STR space. One, they usually have a lower entry cost. So they're cities that are outside of these major metropolitan cities, and so their sticker prices are going to be 30 to 60% less than what these major markets go for, which is great because that just typically means you can make your money back even quicker. There's usually less competitions in these markets as we've just speaking straight from experience, as we've gotten into these off the beaten path markets and starting digging around and looking for competition, there's not those wow properties that just pop. Maybe there's one, two at the most, but there's not a everlasting scrolling list of properties that are just wow in your face. And so that's an advantage for you. You can come in and really just with some design and understanding the amenities and executing on that can be at the top of your market pretty easily.
Yeah.
And so that's where we get the more room to stand out. And then usually there's got a very strong local demand, which kind of keeps people coming back year round. You'll see me speak on a property towards the end of this conversation that's in Windham, New York. I had never heard of Windham, New York, but it's a popular ski area for people that are wanting to like
Same.
leave. Yeah, for people that are wanting to like leave the New York City area and drive a few hours out and want to have like a local destination getaway. It's a cool like little weekend getaway place. And so it pulls a strong local demand.
Yeah.
One of the off the beaten path markets that, someone who lives somewhere else in the US may not know of Fredericksburg, Texas, although like over the past couple of years, Fredericksburg has really grown in attention.
Grown a lot.
It's grown quite a
Yeah.
bit, but it's a market that we have quite a bit of experience in. But this is just like an example of an off the beaten path market that will tie into us talking about a specific Fredericksburg case study. And so it has an average of 100 or 1.5, excuse me, million visitors per year, which is absolutely insane. There are wine venues and around the year events draw a lot of people. But like we mentioned earlier, those properties are heavily discounted from like a market such as like Dallas or Austin that has a very high entry point. You usually have to look on the outskirts of Austin to not be spending the like multi-million dollars on a property, right?
Yeah.
But Fredericksburg is a short enough drive from these major cities, and so it pulls people year round for the weekends. And actually, before we get into Matt, before we get into your Fredericksburg property, because I'm really excited for you to tell them about that, I
Yeah.
went ahead and gathered like a list, and this is just my gift to you guys. Screenshot this page, schedule some time to chat. These are markets that we personally have found success in with our clients. They are off the beaten path markets. You may have heard of them, you may have not. But most of these are just like these hidden gems that people are having a lot of success in, and we wanted to share them with you guys today. These are not commonly known markets that are going to be blasted on the internet, but people are making top dollar in these markets.
Out of these, which one's your favorite?
Traverse
Top
City,
two.
Traverse City, and the Finger Lakes.
So, my wife Amanda has been talking big time about Traverse City. I think there's some regulations you've got to kind of work around, but I've heard it is unbelievably gorgeous. So that's a market we should evaluate at some point together using the strike data.
Yeah,
Um,
we should. There's a
but I'm
local
at
lake out there that everyone goes to
yeah.
on the summers, and so it pulls a lot of people's.
Oh, and I'm a huge fan of the Finger Lakes because I invest in the hill country of Texas mostly, which is wine country of Texas. Well, the Finger Lakes, there's tons of wine up there too, and you have the lakes. It's just awesome.
It's
The only problem with me is I don't really like snow and cold weather that much. So I get kind of scared to invest where there's snow because I just don't really know how to handle it very well. But you guys, y'all should do it. If y'all know how to handle it. I just, I'm in Houston, Texas. It's hot down here.
it's
Uh,
intimidating for us Texas folks.
it's intimidating. I'm getting scared. Um, okay, so we just talked about how to identify some of these markets. And then now we're going to get into how to actually evaluate these markets and these properties that you find there using strike technology. Now, and this is what I personally do, and Lauren does as well. But before I do that, Michael Elefante, he's a partner of mine as well, and I've actually learned a lot from him. And speaking of what Lauren talked about earlier, what he talks about all the time too is finding a lot of these major metros that are growing in demand and population, and then looking about 3 to 5 hours outside of those major metros for these, off the beaten path markets, like Lauren mentioned, that are vacation markets or whatever. So that's a really great strategy. And so, like again, the hill country of Texas is just a really great spot because you got Austin, San Antonio, even Houston, Dallas, and there's like all these really cool off the beaten path vacation markets that people still want to take family reunions to, bachelorette parties, like all these like fun things and experiences, wine country. And that's just in Texas. I mean, again, like Lauren said, there's little pockets like that all across the US, including the list that she mentioned. So, okay, so let's get into my case study and give y'all some insights of what I'm personally doing because we don't want to tell y'all to do something if we're not doing it ourselves. So I'm going to tell you what I'm doing, and then hopefully that will help you decide if this is right for you too. So this is a property I bought back in 2020. Uh, I've mentioned this a few times on social media, so you may have heard of this, but this is me. We we were scared to death, had no idea what we were doing, had never bought short-term rentals. I was in commercial real estate. Um, I was scared, and I don't. Many of y'all may resonate with that. And I had about 50,000 bucks at the time, which was a lot of money to me back then, and still a lot of money. And my wife was 38 weeks pregnant, and I had the idea. I was like, "Babe, let's go buy a property." She's like, "Are you crazy?" I said, "Hey, listen, I I want to get out of this rat race. I think we should do this. And in fact, I think we need to do it now." And she's like, "Babe, I'm 38 weeks pregnant." I was like, "Let's just do it." So then she said, "Fine, let's go." We toured, we went to Fredericksburg. I just had a hunch. Again, I didn't have really the data. I just had an intuition and bought this property, got in a bidding war, finally got it. Ended up being a 60% cash on cash return. Unreal. But the interest rates were really low back then. But it was a turnkey property. Well, what happened is, y'all are probably experiencing this now after 2020. The COVID boom has kind of come down a little bit. It's more normalized. It's not over. Like the Airbnb thing's not over. It's just normalized. Everything's more normalized now. But the problem is, like Lauren said, competition has increased. So if you're an average performing property, you're probably break even in most markets or negative. So for me, I'm still better than break even just because of where interest rates were. But I was like, man, there's got to be, I was like, you know what? I bought this thing break even. We built this technology. We had the data. We had the insights. I'm like, I think I'm ready to finally invest and like make this thing better. It was my first one. Let's do it. So then I call up Lauren. I'm like, Lauren, I have an idea. You're crushing it with all new designs. Let's just see what happens and bring together strike and all new for my particular property. And so what do? We did exactly what she does with all of her clients. She looks at the data and we see this revenue potential. Again, every property has a range of revenue. If it's a break-even property, if you just go buy it and don't do anything, it's probably going to make 45 to 50,000. Mine, we had done a few things, put in a hot tub. So we're operating at like this 67,000, the 75th percentile of that market. But what's cool is look at this. There's the 90th percentile of that market, which you could get up to like 95,000 in possible revenue. Up to some two-bedroom properties in this market are making like $200,000. So like there's a massive spread. And so here's a few comps that you can look at. And so what we did is we dove in the comps. We realized, hey, Matt, we don't have a swimming pool for my property, but we do have a hot tub and we have these other unique things. And we have a second living space that could be turned into like a game room. So we started thinking about these unique amenities that we were finding with the comps and what the data was showing. And so we put together an incredible design, and I'll show you all this real fast. ALNU put together this really amazing design for the property on a budget because I said I don't really want to spend more than 50,000 bucks for this thing, but let's see what we can do. So we did an outdoor movie theater with string lights, this cool like seating area, really elevated, amazing design for the living room, just really amazing design. I mean, throughout the house with the dining and the bedrooms. And again, we did this game space, right? I mean, back here right now, it's just a couple of couches. And so we did like a shuffleboard and a game table. Again, it's where people can drink wine, play poker, hang out for bachelorettes. And then there's a lot of kids that come here. So we've got a play set here, we've got a putting green and a fire pit. So all of this will be taking place this year. And what's cool is I'm projected to make about $30,000 more than what I'm currently making, but I'm investing about $50,000. Well, that's a 60% ROI on my money year one. And then everything after that, I basically get paid back in 2 years. And then everything else after that is gravy. So there's two ways to look at buying a property or at investing this year. You can either go buy a new property, great strategy, or if you already have an existing property or a long-term rental or whatever it may be, you could use strike and the data that we have to understand the possibilities and the potential that you have to unlock way more revenue potential. So that's just what we're doing with me. And I'll keep y'all posted on the results, but we're implementing that this year.
Can you go back one slide? I love the different percentiles because it really does help guide a client through the decision of like, does it make sense for us to invest X amount, $100,000, $150,000 into our property to perform? Like, are those numbers even practical to be able to hit? Does it make sense? And maybe we are okay just being at the 70th, 75th percentile. Maybe that does help us reach our goals, right? I really like the different scales so you can just understand where you fall and then like what's possible. This is one of the coolest features I like in the app, right?
Yep. Yep. Same here.
Yeah, really cool. Okay, so now that we've kind of talked through a couple of markets and Matt has given you an example of the market that he's personally invested in, we wanted to help you understand what that process looks like for us. And we're going to use the Fredericksburg example as we talk through the different design playbook. These are all things that we take into consideration when we're designing your property because it's not about the space looking pretty. Yes, we want the space to be scroll stopping and to get you to like stop, click, and see and look at the many more photos of the space. But there's so much more thoughtfulness that goes into it, specifically behind the data that makes sense and drives the amenities that need to be in the space. And so our goal is to talk you through our thought process as we take a client through the process. And so the first step is to help identify your target avatar. We need to understand the buying the buying habits, the likes, the dislikes, the priorities of the avatar that comes to your property. And so we start like really big. We start understanding the market as a whole. Then we go down to like local attractions, and then we understand the actual avatar that's going to be booking your property. So with Matt's Fredericksburg property, we not understood that it was wine country. And so inherently you're going to think, okay, people over the age of 21 are going to be visiting the wine country area, which is true. But what we've also found is that families are coming there. Grandparents are staying back at the house with the kids, playing with the kids while the parents go out on a wine tour for the day. And so
Hmm.
that all went into the thoughtfulness of the design and creating a space that catered to children as well. That's why we did the movie screen with the little like seating area and the playground. And so, had we just looked at the market and been like, oh, it's a wine country, you're probably not going to inherently think children. We definitely deep dive into the guest, into the avatar, and understand their buying habits. So that will lead to you being able to cater towards them, right? And I don't know, like as a parent, I don't know if you see a space that speaks towards your children, you automatically think like, we've got to stay there. Like Daya and Fields are going to love this. They need to be able to experience, like parents will do anything for their kids. And so just
Hmm.
understanding their mindset and speaking to them will allow you to be able to charge a higher daily rate. We'll keep those calendars full and will turn into more five-star reviews, which I think every host, these are probably some of the top three goals, right? You want to be able to charge the most, you want your calendars full, and on the back end, you want that five-star review that will let people know, like, this was a phenomenal experience. You have to book here.
Yeah.
That's step one of our thought process as we start the design process. It starts
Well,
it starts like way before design. Design is actually the last part of what we do. It's all the data and understanding the market and your audience up front.
and something else. So like, there's different avatars for different types of properties in that same market. So like,
Yeah.
I bought a second Fredericksburg property, but it's a 7 bedroom on 6 acres. So like, it's a different avatar where like that one could be catered more towards like it has a barn, so like maybe even weddings, family reunions. Like there's just it's bachelorettes. This cool like wedding space for girls to get ready. Where like this 2 bedroom property near Main Street is just a different one in the same market. So it's just like you got to think about the avatar for that market and specific to that property to really nail it. And I also
Exactly.
discovered that like mostly like I think it was like 60 to 70% women would probably be booking my property. And I'm like, well, I'm a dude. These are the things I like. But my wife's like, well, these are the things I like as a woman. And I'm like, okay, well, if 60 to 70% women are going to be booking my property, well, I should probably listen to my wife. So just you've got to put your mind in that avatar as Lauren's mentioning.
Exactly. Yeah, there's so much research and intentionality done on the front end of the process. I think that's a big misconception is people just think, okay, we're going to jump like right into the design. And it's like, whoa, 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 back up. Our first call is just understanding your property and doing more of a analysis on it to understand, the target market and understand local inspiration, which is kind of like the next thing we think about. So we are big advocates of a guest feeling fully immersed in your property when they're there. So they should have that local feeling and the property, and there's ways to integrate that. The little picture we show here is actually from our Wyndham property that we're designing in New York. There's a ski area, and so we wanted to do a very um, grown but still kind of like playful vibe at the property. And so we did like a fun ski wallpaper that reminds you that you are in ski country, or with Matt's Fredericksburg property throughout the backyard, with it being in wine country. A lot of the tables and bar stools are those big like wine
Wine
barrels.
barrels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you feel like you're in wine country when you're at the property. You can do that through like a mural, through wallpapers, through different pieces of furniture. These are like two little skis you see sticking up. Maybe you like actually put a ski lift like as the chair or something. I don't know. There's ways to just incorporate that local feel because people are wanting to come experience that area. And we're really big on taking that experience of the area back to the Airbnb with you. And that'll just like allow you to feel like that home is part of the full experience of the destination. And speaking of the experience, so after we've understood the market, after we've understood who's booking it, the next part of our research phase is to understand what amenities need to be into the property to create that holistic experience. This is a picture from Matt's Fredericksburg property where there was absolutely no data to support the movie screen, right? But this was a unique outside of the box amenity that like is going to get someone to stop and click and be like, wait, what? Like we're going to have kids sitting on these little chairs. This is a little turfed area. We'll have the screen playing in the background on photo shoot day. And this is just an outside of the box amenity that we've added to the home that we believe truly will be able to drive that experience, thus driving the daily rate he'll be able to charge. He already had a lot of the amenities that panned out that he needed to have, like the hot tub and the outdoor seating, a little bar area. But this was something that we found in our research that we thought could be super fun to do at a pretty low cost. A movie screen's not an expensive amenity to add in. And so
Yeah.
this is something that's going to just like set you apart from most properties. I guarantee you most of these properties don't have this like outdoor movie screen area.
Yeah, and when you look at the the strike data when we were on there, really evaluating the comp set. Every single property has a hot tub for the most part.
Right.
I mean, some don't, and it's like you were wildly missing it if you don't have like you at least got to have a hot tub. Come on. Um, so that's like number one, but everybody else has that. So it's like, well, how do you separate yourself in the sea of everything when people are scrolling? It's like when you're on Google and you're like trying to find the top ranking thing when you're asking a question. The same thing, you want to be at the very, very top of Airbnb or VRBO or wherever it is
Mhm.
on this SEO kind of game we're on. But the only way to do that, if everybody looks like you with a hot tub and great design, is these really, really unique amenities. So like the outdoor movie theater, the play set for the kids, the game table for people inside where they could drink wine or play poker or play shuffleboard. Um, there's other really interesting things like that you can do. The putting green. I mean, honestly, there's not a whole lot of putting greens in Fredericksburg,
Right.
surprisingly. So, but if you can amenity stack that, which is not honestly, again, I'm spending 50 grand for this for the full redo, it's going to produce a 60% ROI year one just because I'm able to, yes, I can increase my occupancy, but my ADR, my average daily rate, can just be boosted so much more because people are willing to spend more for great experiences. So that's,
Right.
if y'all forget anything else, like that is the secret to success this year. Like if you want to buy a property, you could do it. You'll honestly probably crush it because of just the tax write-offs alone. But if you want to just do better than average, this is how you do better than average. This is how you can crush it and replace your income and do some incredible things to like transform your financial life. But
Right.
risk or return. Sometimes it takes a little bit of risk to do it. I remember, like lifestyle shots. Like I was like, lifestyle shots, like but my wife was even like, I don't know
Uh,
if we want to do lifestyle shots, but honestly, it's different and it gets people to stop the scroll to think about booking your property. So you've got to think about that to juice your ADR and your occupancy way higher.
right. Yeah, we'll speak on lifestyle shots in a second because we're huge advocates. Like that's a non-negotiable for us. And another another thing that we think is beliefs just like really set you out from your competition is branding your social media, branding your short-term rental. This is something that like think about it when you stay at a Marriott or a Hilton or a boutique hotel, there's branding that's throughout the property that is going to remind you that you're at a Hilton or a Marriott. And there's a reason for that. They want you to associate their brand with the experience that you're having. Same thing here. Long gone are the days where you like we no disrespect to anyone who's done this, but like taking a picture of like a box of graham crackers and like a bag of marshmallows and like the Hershey chocolate is okay, but like it's like the basic. We want to elevate your property to be able to charge more. And so we've done a lot of these little like cute little branded s'mores kits out by fireplaces or branded mugs. We're looking to create a whole brand behind your property. And that will then allow you to take it a step further should you ever decide to have your own direct booking website or social media platform. I mean, you create a TikTok for one of your properties and it goes viral and you're booked for the next foreseeable future. I know I found this a few years ago. There was a cave in Ohio that this family constructed and turned into a short-term rental and it blew up. It went viral on TikTok and it's booked out. It's still booked. This was like 3 years ago. And so we like to create not with pressure, but just the opportunity for you to actually have some branding behind your property. Every property that we design has a name. It has a branding like color scheme behind it. It has topography, and then we give you different branding ideas, mugs, cups, blankets, murals, little packages like this. All of this that just like instills trust and familiarity with your guest. And then last but not least, Matt kind of chalked on this. We are super, super picky about the photos of your listing. People do not put the attention to detail that needs to go into a photo shoot. We were laughing. I was talking with a community about this, and they were like, yeah, but like you should hire like professional models. And on this photo shoot, this is actually me. And Matt's somewhere in this photo shoot as well. We
I'm
actually
somewhere in there.
we actually had a really fun time. This is a property that we designed in Houston, but not to speak too much on ourselves, we're really big on selling a guest the experience that you're going to have while you're in this place, right? It's one thing to show the living room, it's another thing to show popcorn. We're drinking some Coca-Colas and we're just like having fun. There's a couple of other images where we're just like throwing popcorn at the camera, like laughing, having a good time. That's creates a completely different feeling than just a picture of a living room. And so we actually offer a service where like if you do not work with us for anything else, we will come out and help you coordinate your photo shoot so that you have those pictures that really sell your property because we're big advocates that like, hey, if you've spent X amount of dollars on your property, but the photos don't show the space appropriately, you've essentially wasted money because all that you have, Matt, would you agree, is like the photos. That's it. You're not talking to the person that's about to get to book. You're not saying, "Oh my God, like we had such a good stay here." No, you just have the photos to show the space. And so the goal is to really create intentional wow moments that make it kind of feel like irresistible to book. Like we want to experience this at that property.
Now, if you think about it, when you go book a place for your family or whatever you're trying to do, you're just
Mhm.
scrolling Airbnb. There's one photo that will stop you to click on that listing. And it's like, what is that one? So, like, even when you're going into these properties, before you even buy the property or even think about investing, think about what is that one photo that will separate me from everything else and how can I create that experience and that design and everything around that. And then,
Yes.
followed by the next four is kind of everything. And then if you get past that, then okay, you've got a good chance. But if you can't get them to click on that one photo, it's like, you know, so
You've
that's,
lost.
yeah, that's everything. So you got to create that one wow moment followed by, some support, those four extra photos to
Hmm.
get you to the top of the rankings.
Right. Exactly. So that is our holistic process from the very, understanding the target market, your audience, attention to local attractions, what amenities you need to have for the experience, and then on the back end, the branding and the photos. That's if to walk through a process with us, that's just like summarize what it would look like to work with us. And we wanted to talk a little bit more. Matt shared his experience through his Fredericksburg property. This is the property I mentioned earlier at the beginning of the presentation that's in Wyndham, New York. One of our clients just closed on this property. They're currently doing a couple of renovations, making a couple extra bedrooms in the space. It's a huge 6 bedroom, 4.5 bath property. These are current photos, similar to Matt's. It was a current STR making around $80,000 a year at a 60% occupancy. And these are snapshots of what the property looks like now. We jumped on the strIQ app, which is how I start the initial search with every single one of our clients. And we found properties that were within a 2 mile distance of these homes that were comparable in size. And top revenue topping out at $213,000, which is property number one over here, down to about $116,000 and understanding the spread and the difference in these properties. But as you can see, like a huge upswing, like a double amount of revenue than what the property is currently doing. And so we dove in and helped the client understand what they needed to do to be able to get to the top of that market. And then if you go to the next slide, these are kind of these are actually images from the presentation that we delivered to our client. You'll see we included some of like the branding ideas that we had here. We'll be doing an outdoor sauna, cold plunge. We thought these like fur blankets, like on the like with like the mountain view on the background was just absolutely stunning. And then this was like a concept that we had for the dining room area, but just with implementing this design strategy, it truly is a strategy. Her property is going to be looking to go from making around 80K to 150K. And similar to Matt, I'm super excited to circle back with you guys because we'll be jumping back on and talking in the community to show you like the actual booking revenue that comes from implementing the design strategy that we came up with.
Yeah. Hey, and actually, I want to mention that real quick because that's a good thing you mentioned earlier about this investor bought an existing STR, right? And then
Yes.
is now transforming it. Okay. This is an interesting strategy for you guys in 2026 because there's a lot of people that bought short-term rentals. They thought it was going to be easier than it was.
Mhm.
They just put the down payment down and put it with the property manager and just really didn't do anything. And what are they receiving? They're receiving average results and they're thinking, this is ridiculous. Like, I thought it would crush it, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
But they didn't understand, hey, you've got to unlock this potential. So the cool
Right.
thing about that strategy is there's actual historical revenue associated with that property. So at the worst case scenario, you could probably at least make that as like a backfall. So like it helps increase confidence knowing, okay, now let's boost this thing up, leveraging the data that y'all are seeing with strIQ to go juice this thing way higher. And now even lenders might even lend on that historical data too. I actually just did that with my second Fredericksburg property. It's making about 108,000 as an average producer. But if you go to the 75th percentile, it goes up to like 175,000. And if you go up to the 90th percentile, it goes up to 250,000 with the top 1%, like over 300 grand. So most people would look at that and be like, why would you buy something that's making 108,000? Well, it's because y'all know the secrets now. It's you can get to the top. You just got to be able to create that experience for that.
Sure, exactly.
So speaking of experiences,
Yeah, we put together a few. So these are like never before seen concepts that we are just in love with at the moment and think would perform phenomenal in the right markets. These are never before seen boards that we wanted to show you guys. This is kind of what a concept would look like at the beginning of working with us after we've understood your target market, after we've understood your audience and who's going to be booking your property. On that next call is actually a strategy call where we take your likes, your dislikes. And if you don't know, a lot of clients are just like, hey, tell us what would perform well and we're about it, right? We don't care. We have no personal tie. We can present something like this to them and we think would just absolutely stand out and crush it in the market. Matt, if you just want to click through, so the first one's our Wonderland theme. Next one's like a super fun, bachelorette driven velvet disco theme that just lots of bright pink colors and disco
it's
balls.
awesome.
Yeah. And then something more grown and sophisticated that caters towards the men. You guys still matter. We
We
have a
still book. It's fine.
still matter. We really liked some of these um, dark, more cohesive feels here. And then the last one is our matcha mason. As you guys know, or maybe you don't, matcha and Pilates is really in right now. Wanted to like talk on the top right hand corner for a minute. I know a gym is usually a space that will put you in that top like 90th percentile, but a gym can be pretty expensive just equipment wise. Pilates is huge right now and we don't foresee it going anywhere. And so a Pilates space, just putting some mirrors on the wall, some lighting behind the mirrors, throwing some
Hmm.
mats in there is a low cost way to provide a like gym experience at a property. So these are just like never before seen designs that we've created and having our bank and want to offer to you guys. If something stands out to you, would love to chat further about one of them. Or if you have a property that you think would like this design would kill it, would love to chat with you about that.
Those are awesome. I love them.
Thanks.
So we're now at the Q&A portion. So what we want to do, we've got about 15 minutes left or so, 10, 15 minutes.
We did good
Uh,
on timing. We wanted to give you guys like we wanted to make it more interactive at the end.
I know we wanted to talk less, so I think we're cutting us off right now, and that way we're going to open it up for you guys. So throw questions in the chat. We're going to be looking for your questions. Uh, whether it comes to design, data, tech, whatever it is, different unique markets we're looking for or that you think we like. We can answer any questions y'all have. So start throwing it in the chat, and we will be on the lookout there. Okay, so Troy is saying, can you give design ideas on my current STR? Well, do you want to give us a little more feedback?
Sure. Yeah. Are you saying Troy give more feedback or
So Troy is saying, can you give design ideas on my current STR?
Sure.
Um,
Yeah.
sorry.
So Matt mentioned, like we just kind of gave two examples of properties that Matt had a current STR and so did the client in Wyndham. we're happy to, yeah, we work with clients. And actually, the photo that you're looking at right now was a current STR and PCB that we transformed. We have several clients who have STRs that we want to help them educate them. Let's like that first call would just be us understanding is does it make sense for us to actually design your property and bring you to the top of the market? Like, does it align with your goals? And then we would talk through different design styles that we think could get you there. On the next screen, Troy, we'll have a link where you can book a call with us. And that first call is just like our gift to you to chat and understand this like a good fit. So happy to talk more about that. But yeah,
Cool.
yeah, don't let the like we want to talk with people who currently have STRs and want to help you get to that top of the market. We salvage as much of the furniture in the space as we can. We don't just like get in and gut everything unless it needs to happen. So super excited to talk to you if you have a current STR.
Yeah. What other questions do you guys have? And while we're waiting, Lauren, based on some projects you've done recently, any interesting or unique amenities you guys are working on that maybe we've never heard of, or that you just think are like super hot right now? Just anything that you think are differentiators?
The Pilates studios, I haven't seen those done a lot. I see gym spaces with like free weight equipment for the people that don't have like the space to do a full like lat pull down, squat rack bar setup.
Yeah.
No, right? So yeah, just taking those smaller spaces and turning them into like little Pilates studios. Pilates is just a huge pull across the market right now, and we don't see it going anywhere. Pilates studios are continuing to pop up everywhere, and it's
Yeah.
just a nice space. So like where we can add free weights in there, where you could get in there and do some lifting, but then it also caters towards most most people that go to Pilates are females. I'll see a few men in there every now and again, just like struggling. But yeah, the Pilates spaces are something that like I don't know most people doing right now.
I've also heard, well, not heard, I've seen with experience that, I mean, we all play, a lot of people play pickleball. Like, if you have the room for it, pickleball is crushing it revenue wise. And I've
Mhm.
seen it over and over and over in almost any market. If you
Yeah,
add pickleball, like it's kind of expensive, like 30 grand, but I mean, you could usually crush it revenue if you add that as a unique amenity. I see a
right.
couple of other questions here. I don't want to miss these. So, do you simplify the order list? Where the items should be placed in property to hand off to the contractors and installers?
Yeah, so we have a done for you guide if you're just a virtual client. So we have two services that we offer. We offer a virtual where we'll design the space. We'll send a Matterport scan in and design it anywhere in the US without ever actually stepping foot in the property. And then the other service that we provide is a full done for you where we'll manage the contractors, we manage all the procurement, we manage the full setup and photo shoot. We give you the keys back, and it's essentially ready for your property management company to step in and take over with you just having to lift a finger minimally, right? And so for the first option, the virtual option, if you don't hire us to manage all the contractors and everything that goes into it, we give you full install guides that show like it's in great detail, but not to the extent where it's hard for a contractor or anyone to pick up and understand. And so I don't know, Matt, you can speak to the deliverables. Like it's
Yeah.
we put ourselves in those shoes, and we want you to be able to essentially like give the contractor the guides, and they say, okay, this wall is receiving this coral paint color and this wall is receiving wallpaper. Got it. And there's photos to show it and measurements and everything. So we try to get pretty detailed so that because that can be like a very stressful process
Yeah.
if it's too vague.
And it all comes down to time and budget. Like when I first started, I didn't have any money. I didn't have I couldn't like afford like doing full install stuff. So I would probably go with more like the virtual thing so I could
Mhm.
get the links that basically is just hand delivered on a platter to me so that I could just go do it on my own. Versus, if you have a little bit more cash and less time or just don't want to spend the time, then that's where the full install thing is nice because it's like, all right, I can just not even touch it and let someone else handle it and get my time back. So it just kind of depends on time and budget there and your personal situation.
Right.
But
And
both are,
Roger, I saw the other part of your question, like the simplified list. You receive a shopping list with links to like we divide it by space in the home, and then there's links, and we've actually now just added pictures to like for you to be able to see the object, but it shows you like exactly where it goes. Like there's a shopping sheet list, and then there's also a separate deck that shows you exactly where those pieces go. So
Yeah.
it's pretty simplified and like a done for you on
And if they
platter.
jump on a call with you, maybe you could show them even my Fredericksburg example if you want to kind of peek behind the curtain to see what they get. I'm happy if people want to see what I'm getting, if you want to show them on when they book a call with you. So I saw someone else asked a question when adding STRs, do you recommend buying in one or more than one market or different types of properties in the same market? I'll go ahead and take that one. So I've got five. Wait, see here. I'm trying to remember how many short-term rentals I have. Five short-term rentals, or six. Six. So I've got multiple different properties, different markets. So I've got Seaside, Florida, Canyon Lake, Texas, College Station, two in Fredericksburg. I might be missing ones, but long story short, I invest in multiple different markets first. The reason for that is I like to diversify, because, like, say something, I don't know, one of the markets has a down season for whatever reason. I might can still do better in College Station because of graduations and college football. If like a hurricane happens in Florida, so I like to diversify first as my personal preference, but I just bought my second property in Fredericksburg. So I've doubled down there. Why? Because I've tested that market. I know it's a tried and true, amazing market. I bought a bigger home, so it's a little different, but my cleaning team is there, my handyman's there, my operations are all already done. So there's pros and cons to both. But the good thing about buying in the same market is you don't have to go find new cleaners and handymen and all that stuff. So your operations are a little easier and you're already familiar. But you do double your risk some just because it's constrained to that one market versus others. So there's pros and cons of both. Looking, how long does it typically take from onboarding to completion for the redesign?
So from onboarding to us delivering your design package to you for approval, it depends on the size of your property. It can be anywhere from about 2.5, 3 weeks to upward of 5 weeks if you have like a extreme large multiple unit complex compound. But usually it's around that like we'll just say middle ground is about 4 weeks from the initial call.
Got it. Warren was saying, how can we get the recording? He was on a call, so he wasn't able to listen. But hey, we'll send that out to you afterwards. And by the way, after this call, we've got the recording. We'll send it out to everyone that was on it. And it should be on our school community, by the way. If you're not a part of that, it's free. Y'all should join. Again, when I first started in short-term rentals, I was by myself. I was siloed. I didn't know what the heck I was doing. And Lauren, I mean, same with you. Like when you first started, you didn't know what you were doing either. So that's the beauty about the community we've built, the strIQ Squad, is because we're just bringing people together to help each other. Because really, my heart, and I know Lauren's heart too, is like we truly want to make real estate investing more accessible to everyone, instead of just the elite or like the Wall Street, up there. We want everyday people to be able to buy these short-term rentals, have the confidence, and have the community to go do it because it's you're running a business. I mean, you're investing in real estate, but you're running a business. That's why you get the tax write-offs for the active tax write-offs. And so it's more fun and just better if you can do it together. So join that community. Leslie, if you can send the link there. Okay, I think you sent it. I think that'd be helpful. And Lauren's in there as well and can answer any questions there. And the recording will be there after the call.
Community makes all the difference. I mean, just having a place where you can go to ask silly things that you haven't even thought about that are going to happen, pop up and happen, right? And you have the confidence to somewhere to go and just say, "Hey, what do I do?
Yeah, I
How
know.
do I
I
how do I
know.
get my trash taken out every week? I'm not
Does
there."
anyone have a cleaner here? Help me. Um, okay, so we've got just a few minutes so we can go and wrap up here. Quick teaser before the wrap up. This is a little teaser of what we're calling strIQ 2.0. We spent 4 years bootstrapping our current version of strIQ 1.0, and a lot of learning lessons. And we've taken all that experience and knowledge and feedback from you guys over 4 years and have basically rebuilt strIQ from scratch in about 60 days. And we're calling it strIQ 2.0. This is going to be launching May 1st of this year. But we are offering early access to what we're calling founding members, which I'll tell you about here in a second. And so, anyway, your current process is you go to Zillow, you go to a revenue provider, and you go to a spreadsheet and you plug it all in, and it takes forever to find good deals. Well, strIQ 2.0 will instantly allow you to find great deals, show the revenue potential. And then once you find and evaluate that property, then you can work with someone like Lauren to go, um, you know, install and have that designed. And so this is a great place if you're trying to find that next property. And so again, we're doing the founding member special right now. It's 75% off for life. We've got 50 spots available. There's only 18 left of those. So if you're interested, you can go to this link here. It's striq.com/founding member. And it'll tell you a little bit more about that offer there.
Perfect. And then we're wanting to do for you guys, just thank you so much for spending some of your day with us. We're wanting to do $1,000 off any design services that are booked through the end of March. And so the first step into claiming that offer is to just scan the QR code and book an intro call. It's a no pressure. We're here to talk you through to see like if it's a good fit. And if it is, we'll schedule a design consultation call and run an analysis on your property and help you understand your options and how we can help you reach those goals. And so we would love to chat with you on an individual basis and see if we can put some more money in your pockets from a design standpoint.
I love it. Well, any other questions before we jump off? We'll wait just a little bit longer if there's any other questions. Otherwise, we can wrap up.
I'm so excited for strIQ 2.0. It's like that previous screen made me excited.
Oh, I'm so pumped. We just launched beta this past week. I mean, I've risked everything for it. So I'm very excited. We raised a big seed round, and so um, yeah, we launched beta, and so I'm excited to show you guys. I'm ready to go find my next deal.
I know.
But after this call, I'll give you a little more of a demo, Lauren, so you can see it.
Okay, I would love that.
So,
I'm
all
gonna
right.
drop.
Well, I don't see.
If someone
Uh,
doesn't have like a camera to scan, Matt, give me just a second. I'm gonna drop in the chat more chat. Here we go. I'm gonna drop the link.
and maybe, hey, Leslie, when you post the recording to the school community, or even send it out over email, Lauren, if you want to send your QR code or that offer in there, we can send that out over email and on school as well,
Okay,
so that people see that.
perfect.
So, all right, everyone. Well, thanks for joining us. Appreciate y'all's time. And hey, we wish you all the very best. We truly, my life's been changed by short-term rentals. I know Lauren's has too. And we really want to help you guys and see you all successful. So reach out if you have any questions and wish you all happy hunting season this 2026 and your next STR